Well, hello and welcome to another Tree Service Marketing Profits podcast. I'm your host, Wesley Smith with Tree Service Digital and the host of the podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe to our channel. If you're on the podcast, like and subscribe to your favorite channel. We're on all the major podcast players, Spotify, Google, Apple Podcast, etc. And I've got plenty more expert interviews as we do today coming down the pike. So glad you're here. Welcome aboard. We've got Gordon Ho today on from Rainmaker Dots. Gordon, thanks for joining today.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing what's going on. So I know you're kind of actively involved in the tree care industry, and you were at the TCIA conference this past year in November in St. Louis, and kind of introduced your new kind of service that you're offering, I think, to the tree care industry. Something you may have been doing in the past, but maybe now specifically for the tree care industry. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I got invited to speak at a longtime client of mine invite me to speak. It was actually in Puerto Vallarta this year at the winter conference meeting, and they said, "Hey, we're wanting to get a little bit more familiar with artificial intelligence, and and you happen to have a technology that you built with LinkedIn, and you got some automation there. So can you come speak to us about the industry getting a little bit better with some automation, artificial intelligence, and LinkedIn?" And yeah, so I had a really exciting time and great people to meet at the Winter Minute Management Conference. And I showed them our solution around leveraging LinkedIn to go find ideal prospects, more for the commercial side. And then at the same time, we had built an artificial intelligence chatbot that can tie into your website to be more of a lead generator. So at the end of the day, it's helping businesses get a little bit more efficient as far as lead generation with commercial, and then figuring out some tools to automate the process to do it more at scale. So yeah, a lot of potential opportunities in this particular industry, leveraging some of these tools out there. So it was a lot of fun to talk about, and had some live demos to show off. And yeah, it was really receptive.
That's great. Yeah, no, I think it's phenomenal. So a lot of the tree companies out there and a lot of our clients, people specifically kind of want to focus on that commercial niche sometimes in some cases. And other people just have a broad, variety of different types of clients, whether that's, commercial, residential, municipality, all types of like government type local government contracts or power line, company contracts. So there's a lot of different things they can do with the equipment that they have. So I think a lot of them sometimes specifically want to cater to commercial. And about the only other way to do that would be, I think, on a platform like LinkedIn, because a lot of times these building owners, property owners, homeowners associations, like all their top level folks are going to be on LinkedIn with a profile.
Right.
So the tree company, if they optimize their LinkedIn profile, kind of showcasing their services and their certified arborists, et cetera, I think that's a good platform to be on, because with search, you get a wide variety of people who are going to be searching for services in the local area for tree service, arborist services, whatnot. But you can't really confine it to just commercial people looking for tree service. It's just kind of a Google search, right? So this is more laser focused on who they're looking for if it's commercial, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think you nailed it. It was kind of an aha moment. What I tried to make everyone realize was, although some folks within the tree care industry are not as active on LinkedIn, they have a presence, they're just not active. The aha moment was me reminding them that all these other industries are active on LinkedIn, been active on LinkedIn for quite a while, and are more willing to respond inside the LinkedIn platform, particularly if they need something. In the tree care industry, there's just not a ton of presence in there. So enhancing their LinkedIn profile, finding the right folks in those various commercial industries, they're out there, they're receptive, they're ready to engage. And that was kind of the takeaway that a lot of these folks had, is like, okay, even though we're not active on it, there's a whole bunch of people who are active. So that's what kind of made the topic pretty relevant and kind of opened some eyes.
Yeah, LinkedIn's one of those platforms a lot of people overlook, I think. It's easy to, because the main ones most people are familiar with, Facebook, Instagram, et cetera. And LinkedIn's kind of this one off to the side that people have maybe kind of toyed with, logged in, created a profile. but
Yeah.
just that and gone the extra mile of all the little things you can do inside there with the sales navigator and the kind of the segmenting of lists and local areas and all that targeting you can do. And it actually takes an expert to kind of get in there and figure all of that out because it's a learning curve. I mean, we've been in there. I've got a profile and we use it, but it's taken years to kind of figure out all the moving parts of it. And we're still not, 100% there. You just kind of get in there and do the best you can with it. But it's one of those ones people kind of put on the shelf and forget about. But if they would get in there and be active and do the right messaging and the right connections, I think it's great for that because most professionals want to be on that platform. And to your experience, that's where a lot of them are, right? Because people don't a lot of times answer business Facebook page messages, but on LinkedIn, that's the person's LinkedIn profile that you're messaging. So it's generally you're going to get a response from that person, right?
Absolutely. And what you're doing is you're controlling the narrative, and that's the key. Just about everyone that sets up their LinkedIn account, they follow LinkedIn suggestions and ends up looking a little bit like a digital resume at the end of the day. And what we kind of do is kind of go in there strategically and do some edits to the profile that we want to answer the what's in it for me from your target audience perspective. An example, there might be someone that works at a municipality and they're looking for a resource that's going to handle all the tree care in their entire municipality, right? Well, that one contract could be worth a lot of revenue over a lot of time, but they're looking for that resource in their network. And when they come finding that resource in their network, you know what they do? They cyberstalk. They're going to check out that resource's profile. If there's not a ton of substance there, they kind of moved on. But what we do is we kind of help edit the profile to answer the questions that target audience might be looking for and be the resource and solution for them. So it's very easy for them to go, hey, this looks like someone that could help me with my tree care in my whole region here. And they do the reach out that way. You just got to get them in your network, number one. And number two, you don't need to sell on LinkedIn. You got to be the resource to give people the permission to buy when they're ready to buy. And that's kind of the key aspect of the strategy there. And that's what we do. We help people execute that strategy.
That's awesome. Yeah, a few times in the past, we've attempted to kind of generate a list. There's all these list building companies you can go out there and buy. There's Info USA, there's sickcodes.com, there's a bunch of different ones, right? And so one of the strategies is you can just go and filter by your cities that you want to target, and then HOAs, building owners, property owners, and kind of sort and try to purchase a list of people that may be in your target area, your target audience. And some of that was successful with like a Facebook ad audience or different types of audiences, or maybe cold emailing those people if it provided an email address. But
Yeah.
what you're doing, I think, is just it's more personal because it's on the profile of LinkedIn, and those people are going to be on the same thing too. You probably have multiple connections that are similar, so that might kind of help spur the conversation a little bit faster too. And you may or may not be able to use a list like that if somebody already has a list, maybe to go and then seek out everybody on LinkedIn who would be on that list of property owners. That way you're kind of targeting those people too if there's like a gray area on LinkedIn or that person may or may not be there, right? Kind of match them up.
Yeah, so LinkedIn has a paid subscription called Sales Navigator, which basically opens up the network because you're paying for it. I believe they've got like 36 extra filters that helps you narrow down to find the right who. The key is to build a network with the right like-minded folks, all those titles you mentioned, like the HOA folks, municipalities, golf course superintendents, school district super, like all these people that have trees on their property, right? LinkedIn has a lot of data. You just got to filter it, and half the battle's building the right network. In our process, if you can get the right network into your mix, now you have them there. Now you engage them where you're a service provider or a resource for them. So I'll give you an example. I live here in the Midwest. I'm in Kansas City, and we're in tornado season, in storm damage season. And all of a sudden, this last weekend, tornado warnings, tornado watch, severe thunderstorm watch. Next day, there's tree limbs all over on the city, right? If you have a network of the folks that work at these different places with tree limbs there, it's a perfect time to post on LinkedIn in your feed. Hey, look, just a reminder, this is what we do. We're available 24/7 to help you there. That person that comes into work, right after the holiday break, log into their computer, checking their LinkedIn because they're active on there and they see that feed. Holy smokes, you just reminded them of your service. You didn't sell anything. You just reminded that you're a resource for them because they're there in your network. And it's just a great way for these business folks who are trying to, you know, uh, fix this problem that they have with tree limbs all around town. You're simply reminding that you're a resource out there because they got to get that taken care of like ASAP. So going back to what you said, all that work's done over a period of time. You got to get the right network built. So when a scenario like this occurs, you are a resource for them in this particular scenario.
Yeah, I can see how that would work great. I mean, you're reminding them of what you're doing right in a timely situation where they need it. And, we do similar services for a lot of our clients where they've got a database of customers already. A lot of these are, they're a mixed bag of customers, but
Yeah.
similar type thing. I mean, a storm comes through or they want to promote something seasonally, an offer for the spring, an offer for the summer. We can simply send out these text message, uh, blasts out to their customer database, kind of drip them out over a course of
Yeah.
2 to 4 days, and they get responses. And so if you have a storm, similar thing, right? Somebody gets a text message. I think they say those are 99% open rate versus email maybe is 30.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to kind of have those different communication channels with when situations pop up because they're going to be calling somebody. It may as well
Yeah.
be your tree company, right? So
Yeah.
that's another good strategy as well. Well, this has been great. I mean, this is something that people can target and focus on for more of that commercial sector. And I'm sure it probably generates leads for residential as well, because people in your
Oh,
network are
absolutely.
going to have homes and properties and things like that too on the side. So kind of just
Yeah.
a good strategy to get the right folks in your network and get those people on the schedule, right? For some commercial.
Well,
Yeah.
it certainly goes hand in hand, Wesley. So, I'm very familiar with your services, highly respect what you do. You're great at what you do. But LinkedIn is just another platform that kind of ties in the whole entire ecosystem. Admittedly, I think everyone could say, yeah, I've got a LinkedIn presence, but I could probably get a little bit better at it. That's kind of what we do. But, it's not just commercial focus. It does bleed over to the residential side. And that kind of leads to the other solution that we built, an Arbor chatbot that you can plug into your on your website. That's one of the topics out there. Reputation management is kind of a big deal out there. People will Google cyberstock, go check out different companies, see what kind of service they have. You're going to have some companies that have an out-of-date website and maybe it needs to be refreshed. And for those that have a great looking website, at the end of the day, reputation management usually wins out. The one that's more modern, the one that's more clean, the one that's got the information that they're looking for, that has that call to action, usually wins out. But even there, with the chatbot that we've built the industry's one of the pioneers of industry information that's already there, artificial intelligence, where you can ask our chatbot just about any question out there. So it's a place where people can go and ask general questions where maybe the website doesn't answer, or it's after hours and you can't call and talk to a live person, or heck, sometimes the person answering the phone just isn't equipped with the knowledge to answer specific questions. So the end user might get frustrated. With the chatbot, we're answering the general questions and then making a lead generator to collect information and then directing that inquiry to an arborist that's specialized in that particular area to get back to them right away. And that right there is trying to enhance the reputation management, offer another tool where you're a digital resource 24/7 in any scenario. And I see that, I see AI, and you probably attest to it. I see AI starting to become more prevalent, not only in this industry, but all industries out there. And we kind of have an entry point where you could probably generate some more opportunities just by having this little chatbot on your website. Again, you deal with websites, you know more about reputation management, enhancing a great website, all the work that takes there. So again, just another tool that we're kind of implementing out there for the arbor industry.
No, I think that's smart. I mean, it helps people kind of come to a decision or a conclusion quickly on the website and reach out and schedule an estimate or an appointment. probably
Yeah.
more likely so than not. So if you've got all that information stored in the chat bot and it can sort of answer or just kind of direct this person to the right, what word am I looking for? The right call to action or the right
Yeah.
place to go to get their question answered, then they're
Yeah.
more likely to move down that path further and further and then, book an estimate or give them a
Yeah.
call. And what you're talking about too with the reputation management. I mean, we preach this all day, every day. Work on getting 5-star reviews as often as you possibly can, because when all else is equal, if there's 20 tree companies, 10 tree companies, and they've narrowed it down to 3 or 4, because they're more local, they're closer to that person doing the search on Google, whatever, they're more than likely going to give the opportunity to the people with the best reviews, the highest rating, because
Yeah.
you can't fake 250 5-star reviews, right? I mean, and what we also say too is like, look, sometimes you're going to run over somebody's grass, or a neighbor is going to be mad that you got chainsaws running at 7:30 a.m. And you're going to get a 1-star review here and there. You can't even prevent that. But if you proactively get more and more 5-star reviews, it's going to drown out any bad one that you may get, even if it may not be your fault. But anyway, that's another thing too that we just to make sure we get more people to the website, more eyeballs on the company. Then once
Yeah.
they get there, they can get their questions answered with a tool like that to lead them down that path. You're just going to convert more of those people, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Spot on.
Yeah, so that's great. So that sounds like it does a little bit of the heavy lifting. And like you said, it kind of scans website content and it knows how to kind of deliver the right response no matter which direction you go. So if you start the chat and you say, I've got a pine tree and I want to do some trimming on the pine tree, or live oak tree, whatever it may be, it might sort of start kind of going down a path for them, right?
Absolutely. And that's what's so really fun and really cool. Yeah, so I'm going to say I'm kind of a techie, maybe a little bit of a nerd, but we kind of built the back end knowledge base for the arbor industry. And I also work with behaviors. So you're going to have some folks that are, they're not arborists out there. They just have these basic questions, and they ask the chatbot these basic questions, and boom, it goes out to the World Wide Web, grabs that information, and gives them an actual answer. And the feedback I get from arborists is like, oh wow, it's pretty precise. It's making us look good. But the behaviors is you're going to have people that simply sometimes they just don't want to talk to anybody, right? But they want to get their answers. And if you can provide them consistent answers, they're going to come back again. And at some point, there's going to be something they can't handle, which creates the lead generation. So the way we built the chat bot is you have to, after a couple questions, we kind of lead them into, would you like to have one of our specialists follow up with you or give you a quote or come out and take a look? And generate that opportunity for someone. But we do it in such a way where we allow the end user to, react to their own behaviors, which is, I just need information. I don't want to talk to anybody right now. I just want to get my information. But I'm going to come back because this is consistent to what I'm looking for. So imagine a whole, legion of HOA folks out there that just are busy. They have a general question that someone's asked. It's like, okay, you know what? I have this site here. You guys come to it yourselves and ask these questions, right? So all of a sudden, you've got this tool that people are referencing tool that answer these questions. And at the end of the day, hopefully they come back and do the business with you. So I'm really excited about the technology and where it's going.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, people are messaging more and more, and they want quick information as opposed to giving a company a call, because they probably understand most of the time anyway that it's going to be an answering service, probably 50% of the time, or an office person answering the phone. And that's great. Having somebody live answer the phone is just good customer service, right?
It is.
They're not going to know everything the arborist knows. So if a chatbot like this is smart enough and can answer those types of questions for people that are asking and inquiring about services, that's just going to help, again, better move them along further in the process to where they do ask to get a call back from an arborist or get an appointment
Mhm.
scheduled. So that's going to help, just kind of help them convert more people that do get to their website. And I also noticed recently, I mean, with Google, their search page, depending on what type of search you type in, most of the time nowadays for local home service searches, it's the local service ads first, then Google pay-per-click ads, then the Google Maps. But in
Yeah.
some long tail type searches, like if you're doing a search for what you're talking about here, my leaves are turning brown on my maple tree. What could be the issue? That search is going to generate now an AI search box at the very top of the page. Google's inserted their Gemini AI
Yeah.
bot there. So good content on your website is always going to trump all of this other stuff that you're doing as well, because that's going to
Yeah.
put your website in that Google AI chatbot snippet. And then right below
Yeah.
that, other questions also asked, or you may also be looking for this. Your link
Yeah.
will be in there. We've noticed that it's really kind of transitioned. So that's big too. That's an AI type approach that Google's trying to embed on the search page. So they're moving that
Yeah.
direction, you know.
We're in the middle of all of it, and
Yeah.
that's what makes this potential so much fun to be a part of. And like I said, there's this particular industry, they're getting familiar with it. Have they all jumped in and dove in yet? No, there's still a lot of folks just kind of dipping their toe a little bit wet. So there's quite a bit of opportunity out there to improve their reputation management. Look, you probably know this, probably lots of folks in industry that have an outdated website, not haven't really thought about that, and it's in the back of their mind. Like I said, there's an opportunity out there to improve on a lot of the reputation management side, because people are out there cyber stalking, they're looking for a resource, and if you do it the right way, it'll come back.
It will, and they'll dig up, they're trying to look up dirt too before they call somebody. So they're going to search your business name and say, blah, blah, blah tree service, or blah, blah, blah tree service reviews. They'll do a search like that, and they're going to look and see what your
Yeah.
rating is, what your reviews are.
Yeah.
More importantly, what you're talking about too, not more importantly, but equally as important, is if your website's nice, it's optimized, it loads fast, people can get the information they need from it, you're more than likely
Yeah.
to convert that visitor over somebody with a 10-year-old, 15-year-old outdated website that you
Yeah.
can't read on a mobile device properly, or you
Yeah.
can't find the
Yeah.
contact button, or you can't find
Yeah.
a chat, you can't find a call
Yeah.
button. And we see
Yeah.
this all the time, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, one of the other comments I was going to make is, one of the questions I get is you get some folks that just they're great at trees. They're not great with technology. And I think you'll attest to it, is it's getting easier, and you don't have to be an expert in the space. You have good service providers like you and I that just make it happen in the background. So um, yeah, the entry point could be anybody, from the big uh, tree companies out there to the ones that are kind of getting started out. As long as they have a good resource to help guide them on the technology side, it could pay a lot of dividends for them.
Yeah, and I mean they've evolved already in the tree care industry from the manual labor and climbing and doing things like that to a lot of specialized equipment now that will take care of the same amount of work a lot quicker.
Yeah,
So they've already kind of evolved in that department. The other part is just making sure they got a way to convert people that do find them. Once they get on the website, then they can go out and do more work with the new equipment they got. So
yeah, yeah.
sounds like something that's works hand in hand. Well, great, man. Thanks for sharing what you've been up to in the tree care industry. I think it's going to help a lot of folks. Do you have like your information you want to share, or what do you want us to put on the show notes to where they can get?
Yeah, I tell you what, we have rainmakerdots.com as well as arbораssistant.com, and those will probably be links I can provide you that we can put at the bottom of this when we push it out. But just check it out, and if it's something you're interested in, we'd love to kind of talk to you and see if there could be a fit to help you. But no, it's just kind of educating the audience out there of what's out there, and let them know that don't be scared of technology, embrace it, and see if you can take advantage of it, because there's a lot of other industries already doing it, and they're waiting for the tree industry to jump in a little bit more.
I agree. And we're seeing a good evolution kind of take place over the last few years, where people are moving more digital and getting more familiar with these things. So what you're doing is going to help them hand in hand with that type of thing. So thanks so much for sharing what you're up to, Gordon. Appreciate you being on.
Yeah.
And, until the next video, guys, we got plenty more podcasts lined up. Again, if you haven't liked and subscribed to our podcast, go ahead and check us out on YouTube as well. And then we also got plenty more coming up. If you want to join our Facebook group, it's Tree Service Marketing Secrets. Just search us on Facebook. We'll be happy to let you in there with our marketing channel. And you guys have a great rest of your day. We'll see you on the next one.